Welcome to Oddball History, dipshits.
Oddball
History. All right, today we're doing actually a fun one. It's the story of Priscilla Presley, Elvis's first wife. Totally not a sketchy origin story with her. His child bride. Okay, it was a little sketchy.
The daughter of one of his co-workers in the Air Force, I believe.
Yeah, she was. There's Allie. There's a dog.
Allie just has Elvis fever like the rest of us, you know?
Yeah.
She hears us talking Elvis. She comes over.
But this is the story of how she left him for a karate master.
Yep. Her karate instructor. Very much the old Rob Delaney joke of his wife's karate instructor.
Very parallel.
Yeah, this really happened to Elvis.
Yeah.
Elvis was in the 70s. Elvis was way into karate.
Yep.
It's a well-established fact. He was. Elvis is a super big star still. As we join the story, it's 1972. The world is still high off the Dallas Cowboys' first Super Bowl victory.
Buffalo Bills? Is that against the Buffalo Bills?
No, this was against I think their first one was against the Dolphins, maybe.
Okay.
Or the
take your word
Steelers.
for it.
Dolphins or Steelers, I want to say.
One of them.
One of
Okay.
those two. But anyway, Elvis is a huge star, but he's not quite this. He's not the movie star that he used to be. He's still a massive star, but he's kind of transitioning into fat Elvis, fat karate doing gun toting Elvis.
Oh yeah. That's
that he
honestly
hit.
peak Elvis. When you're thinking of which Elvis we're talking about, it is the one they're impersonating in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That is the Elvis, the big goofy suits. And I think he's like late 30s at this point, right when this event happens. Because I think he actually met his wife when he was 24. Because she was
14.
Yeah. She was 14. What did she had just won the Queen of Del Valley Junior High. Little beauty pageant.
Prestigious.
A prestigious award for a famous man. But this is, he met her when they were, he was in Germany.
Yeah.
When he was in the Air Force.
That's right.
And
doing his part.
Yep. Yeah, doing his part for the troops. But that was like 1958, 1959. And yeah, they would spend a lot of time together and she'd go spend the night. It was very strange.
Back when it was weird if you were a rock and roll star if you didn't have a child bride.
Yeah, the Rolling Stones-esque.
Yeah. Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yep.
Lord knows about Jerry Lee Lewis.
Everyone knows.
It's me, Jerry Lee. Remember that?
I do
We're
not.
like, we love you, Jerry Lee, despite everything.
Yeah.
Dennis Quaid.
We had some dark times, but you know.
Dennis Quaid
You made
played
some
him
good work.
in the movie. Great Balls of Fire is just very fun, you know? You got to overlook some things, have some fun with Great Balls of Fire, the song.
Moral of the story is he really Dane cooked her. Mm-hmm. You know, he pretty much groomed this child. She moved to Memphis to go like spend more time with them, but her parents were like, "You got to finish high school. I know you're
stern.
I know you're dating the most famous man in the world, and you're a child, but you got to go to school."
Yeah,
and she really struggled with that, doing all the drugs and such.
Yeah, she was not very happy. She came to not be very happy in their marriage because she realized, she was sharing Elvis with everyone, including a bunch of other women. Elvis, loves philandering. He was way into the philandering scene.
Yeah, and he liked him young.
He did.
He said a creepy thing to a lady one time where I think it was like a girl he dated after the divorce. But she was young as well, and he said to her, they didn't have sex at first.
Ginger Alden, maybe?
Maybe. I think it was Linda Thompson.
But
he said, "I want to preserve you for as long as I can."
Ugh.
That is the correct response.
Oh, Elvis. Oh, Elvis.
Oh, Elvis, you rascal.
You sick fuck.
Yeah. Not good, Elvis. Just imagine the leather suits and just the philandering with children. Not a good look.
Not great. And he's also in the 70s, he's doing karate. He's way into guns. Steve Martin has a great story of meeting Elvis, and he ends up like holding 3 guns. Like he's like, "Hey, you want to see my guns?" And then he hands Steve Martin one. He empties out the bullets and hands Steve Martin one gun. And then he pulls out another gun and empties the bullets and hands Steve Martin that gun. And then he lifts up his pant leg and he has a gun down there and a little Derringer, and he empties out the bullets and hands them to Steve Martin. So Steve Martin's like, pretty soon I'm sitting there holding 3 guns, and Elvis is sitting there with all these bullets.
Like 30 bullets in his hand.
He's like, wow, this is a weird meeting with Elvis.
Yeah, it sounds like a Mad Lib for famous people.
Yeah.
You're just like, I was with Elvis eating a sandwich on a Tuesday in Morocco.
That's right.
When he had 19 bullets in his hand.
And he, and also at this point he was like way into, he was like fancied himself a bit of like a law enforcement type. He was very much like Steven Seagal, I think, in vibe at this point.
He is Steven Seagal. That is a great comparison.
Very Steven Seagal, and
he just had like pseudo manly hobbies and went, I'm a gunslinging lawman now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh well, that's what it was too. Is like I think it was the Memphis police gave him like a badge. It was like a special, like they were humoring him, like you would do for deputy. A little kid. Like you're one of us now. Here's a badge, you know, to humor them. Only Elvis took this badge and would drive around Memphis late at night with his guns, looking for drug pushers. That was the word he always used, drug pushers. He was like that
First
dude from the Philippines. He was
yeah.
not having the drug push. So he would drive around looking for them. And actually, at one point, I remember after Elvis and Priscilla had split.
Yeah.
At one point, she said in her book that he called her and asked like if she needed anyone killed. Just free. I'm out here roving the streets anyway.
You want a perfect divorce. You never want two happy people don't get divorced. If you need to get divorced, get divorced. Mm-hmm. Best case scenario, you work out a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Exactly.
And that's thoughtful of them.
I also thought this was just classic guy in the doghouse, just laying it on real thick to get back in her good graces. I bet when they were together, he never thought to offer to have anyone killed for her behalf.
Like, oh, now you want to do the dishes and kill people for me? Yeah. A little too much too late.
Yep. You gotta remember, fellas, you gotta offer to kill people for your wife, a blank killing check, if you will.
Yes.
When things are going good, it means less when, It's
a good gift for if you got a tight budget, too, is like a little notebook that just says, a free date with me. You know, I'll clean your car for you. If
I'm
you
giving
pull this card.
a death note.
Here's your death note.
You can't really say, it's not like magical like the death note, but you get it. But it's like a gift card, kind of.
Yeah.
Use
it where you want.
Yeah. For sure.
But he said another creepy thing that like Priscilla also knew that kind of led to a lot of their marital troubles. Besides the drugs and the philandering and the everything being terrible and him being creepy, it was he was turned off by women that had given birth.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He was very turned off by women with kids. It wasn't like him preserving the freshness of the later lady. They did not have a healthy sex life in their house.
Elvis is in the position of Shitbreak in the movie American Pie, very different story, Yeah. Because, Stifler's mom's coming onto him, but he's having none of it.
He's all grossed out by it.
It's a totally different
That's a cougar
dynamic.
in heat. You got to engage,
Which I think it would be funny if American Pie was an Elvis movie. He was singing songs throughout.
There's just a very historic...
Come in my beer. Remember the guy came in the beer and then the guy drank it? What hijinks
hijinks?
We used to be a proper country.
Back when Hollywood made comedies.
When's the last time you were watching a film that had some guy accidentally drink a solo cup full of another guy's jizz?
That's just comedy gold.
Because
farts don't get old. Cum beer
does not get old. And remember, he called it like a super pale ale after. That's a good line. If you ever have one of your friends inadvertently drink some of your cum out of a mixed with beer, pale ale, I think you're not topping that.
You're not doing it. You're not doing it. There could be like a baby one, but that's a little. It's pale ale's already there, right for the picking.
Yeah. Or if it's an Indian guy, you could have done an Indian IPA kind of thing.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, we can workshop it. We can think of cum jokes after the pod.
We'll be back next week.
We'll be back with so many cum drinking jokes.
It's going to be too much. But so I think Elvis got super into karate, and this was in like the early 70s, like 72.
Yeah.
And this was think peak strip mall karate dudes. Like Hollywood was all about, like Bruce Lee just came out with the Way of the Dragon.
Yeah, this is the era that inspires like the Karate Kid era, kind of. Yeah, you have Bruce Lee kicking ass, And karate's getting more popular. There are a bunch of big tournaments. Elvis is always at the tournaments. He loves this shit. And there they see a young fella named Mike Stone.
Mike Stone. Good name. Good porn name.
Really good porn name, for sure. He was a cool dude with an afro. He was Hawaiian guy. The flying Hawaiian. They didn't call him that. They called him the animal, actually.
Really missed opportunity for flying Hawaiian.
Yeah, they really dropped the ball there. But he was like a world champion. He was a badass. He was...
also in movies?
Also in movies.
At this point, he was like the character you beat up, though. But he was he would star and stuff later. But
he got beat up very impressively.
very acrobatically.
He blocked a lot of punches before ultimately getting punched. And kicks.
But so that's the number one guy. That's who Elvis wanted to train with.
And he's like, and Elvis is kind of in love with Mike Stone first. He shouted him out at a concert once, stopped his concert to recognize the great karate man in attendance, Mike Stone. And Mike Stone was like, "Thank you. I'm going to steal your wife later.
I'm going to bang your wife in about 6 months."
So Elvis is dumbass. He's like, "Hey."
Well, there was originally, Mike Stone was like too far away from their house in Los Angeles.
Yeah. And so Elvis, and by the way, Priscilla starts training with him at Elvis's request. Elvis is like, "You should train with this guy. He's a badass."
But the drive's too far, and she don't want to commit to doing 45 in LA.
From LA to Huntington Beach.
Traffic nowadays?
Yeah, no.
Maybe 3 hours. Who are you kidding?
Which very relatable part of the story. Priscilla being like, "Fuck that." Like she has the affair only once it's like a reasonable drive away from her house.
But here's one of my favorite cameos of the story is instead of Mike Stone, the number one guy in the world, Chuck Norris steps in.
Chuck Norris.
And this is young, hot Chuck.
Yeah, he's in or just about to be in the Bruce Lee movie.
Yeah, Way of the Dragon, where he played Colt and he got his ass whooped at the end. Yeah. But you know what?
But what an honor,
What an honor.
To be nunchucked to shit by Bruce Lee.
Yeah, fresh out the Air Force, where he served in Korea.
That's right.
Post-war time, but, fine.
Yeah.
He was a police officer in the Air Force.
And he's just being a cool LA karate guy. He takes on...
I miss that being a job title. I guess like Michael Jai
cool
White.
LA karate guy.
Yeah, I'm just a cool karate guy.
Yeah.
Jai White does it. And he does it pretty well, but nobody cares about those movies. They're not like
they're
star releases.
Karate movies these days.
Yeah,
sad
it's a
as
goddamn
it is to
shame.
say. Yeah. We used to be a proper country.
Thanks, Biden. There's no come beer or karate movies anymore.
And so Chuck Norris trains her at first, and then pretty soon the arrangement changes to her being trained by Mike Stone at Chuck Norris's dojo in LA, so she doesn't have to make the long drive, still gets to train with the sexy Mike Stone. And so they start training. Priscilla loves karate. It's a lot because it's all about like confidence and shit. And it was like water in the desert for Priscilla because she was like feeling like a husk of herself. She was feeling like her whole life was a prison,
the drugs and her literally living imprisoned in a ranch.
Yeah.
That could have been it, but
a gilded prison. Yeah. She lived in. So she loves karate and pretty soon starts having an affair with her instructor, Mike Stone, who, by the way, is married and has a young child at home.
Don't worry about it.
Not to blow his shit up. I don't know. Maybe the child had bad vibes.
Yeah. You're allowed to leave a kid if it has bad vibes. But everybody knows that. A little colicky. The man likes his sleep.
But yeah, so they start their affair, Priscilla and Mike Stone. And she revealed it to Elvis. She left Elvis like pretty soon after she started having the affair with Mike Stone. She told him, "Hey pal, I'm out of here." You know how. And Elvis, he wasn't happy, but he he took it honestly with more grace than I thought he would have.
Yeah.
Like he was
all pilled up, full of peanut butter and jam.
He's like, maybe another time or something like that. That's what he said.
How stoic of him.
That's what he said in Priscilla's book.
Priscilla's book. I forgot
she walked out, and thus ended.
But she dated Mike Stone. They like lived together and tried it for a few years. But what broke them up is this cracked me up.
Yeah,
is Mike Stone wrote about it, and I forget what magazine at the time he published it.
It was the Globe, the tabloid, the Globe,
and it was titled "How I Stole Elvis Presley's Wife
from Him."
Yeah,
How I Stole Elvis Presley's Wife from Him.
Which aggressive title, you know? Like
aggressive
there's a lot of,
title.
There's
a little wordy.
A little wordy. There's a lot of cuckold porn nowadays. This is the literature version of that back then, you know?
Yeah.
That has to suck for Elvis though, to just have a goddamn article come out.
Yeah.
With this guy being like, I was just hot and doing karate real good.
It did suck.
And she
for
just
Elvis.
fell on it, you know?
Yeah. And karate guys are sexy, you know? There's just no denying it. You think of Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, Hong Kong Phooey. That episode of
Hong
Family
Kong
Matters.
Phooey, right up there with Jean-Claude Van Damme, JCVD.
Who doesn't want to get on Hong Kong Phooey when it comes down to it? Then there's the Family Matters where Urkel, he like makes a few tweaks to his Stefan Urkel machine. Only so now it turns him into Bruce Lee, and it is wildly racist. But he does defeat the thugs with Carl's help. And then, just to prove my point of how sexy karate guys are, that's the episode where Laura has complete sex with Steve Urkel.
There we go.
At the end of the episode.
Be a karate man. That's the lesson of this, is be a karate man.
Every kind of position you can imagine. And it was
just
like,
working
how is this on TGIF right now? But the censors were like, we'll let it fly because it's true love. You know? If it was anybody but Urkel and Laura, we would say, hey, try to dial back the penetration shots. But because it's true love.
They had such good ratings, they were kind of given a long leash for the penetrative sex.
Right. They're like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, or you don't say no to the cash cow.
They were suggesting it actually like this. The censors. But yeah, so that sours Priscilla and Mike's relationship, that article coming out.
Yeah, I wonder like what the conversation in the house was like. Did he keep it hush-hush? Was it like his little personal project of how I stole Elvis Presley's wife?
And
it just came out and she read it. I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. I was really bummed. I couldn't find a copy of
the article.
I really wanted to find it, but I couldn't. And I, because I was imagining, like, I wonder if he even wrote it, like, especially with, a lot of times if you write an article, even if you're like a writer, the title is the editor. The editor will change the title, put the title that they want on there. Yeah. So could it have been a case of that? But
what the working title was?
The original,
Bangin' Priscilla.
How I cucked that bitch Elvis. And they were like, "Whoa, Mike, you gotta take it easy.
Down.
I know you're the animal, but
we're gonna add 17 more words to this.
We're gonna we're gonna get it real wordy,
real long,
real windy." And so that Priscilla's not happy with that because she's like, you don't talk to the press. She's very much like Tony Soprano in that way. You just don't talk to those guys. And then they break up. Elvis ends up wanting to have Mike Stone murdered. Obviously,
Mike
at
laid
this point
it on
in the
pretty
story,
thick. This is peak drug-addled. Now he's officially fat Elvis too. The karate's not working to keep the pounds off.
It is.
He's been excommunicated from the karate community because of everyone banging his wife, which is a good reason to leave a gym.
Yeah.
But and what did he say? He had a direct quote that I thought was hilarious.
Oh, which one?
The one. There's too much pain in me.
Oh yeah, there's too much pain in me. Stone must die. There's too much.
Chuck Norris.
Let me do that again. There's too much pain in me.
Stone must die.
All right.
He's in full Steven Seagal mode now. He's giving bad guy villain quotes.
Yep.
He's just in the thick of it, heartbroken.
Yeah, and his friends are like, Elvis, you can't have this guy killed. They're definitely going to know it was you. Like, I got to say.
This is a little linear.
I got to say, if your ex-wife's new karate instructor boyfriend turns up dead, they're going to think about the mega famous gun nut who drives around Memphis at night looking for vigilante justice from people he doesn't know. They're probably going to look in your direction, my man.
This is going to be a quick episode of the first 48.
Yeah. There's
the big angry guy famously cuckolded holding a gun.
There's
maybe he did it.
There's literally jelly donut all over the crime scene.
There's just banana peels falling out of his pocket.
He took the liberty of putting fingerprints in powdered sugar all over the crime scene.
What's all over is that powdered sugar and jelly? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So Batman Elvis is dissuaded from having Mike Stone killed, which is good, I think. You know, it was good that
it was going to be like a Saw movie, but with more sandwiches.
Exactly. More great sandwiches.
Great sandwiches.
That's
you were telling me about the sandwich that he loved.
That's right. There was a sandwich Elvis. Now, this was a few years after when Elvis getting divorced from Priscilla was really bad for him. He really hit the skids. As fat as he was getting before, it was accelerated.
Oh, yeah.
He's drugs all the time. He's sweating all the time. Like Priscilla said in her book, like she was shocked the first time they saw each other after they had split, and she was saying how swollen his face and hands were. Yeah. It was a very nice way of...
It's like when you go from hot to cold water, you know, you get like the tingly feeling.
Yeah.
It's the same. Once you get Mike the Animal in you, and you go back to Fat Elvis, you're like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Just not the same.
It's not the same.
You know? No matter how many bedazzled scarves he might have on at the time, which is sad to say, you know, bedazzled scarves can solve a lot.
It can help a lot of marital problems. Maybe Israel just needs some more bedazzled scarves.
It could be.
You know?
The one sandwich, was the... hard turn. The one sandwich was the Fool's Gold Loaf. That's the famous one. It's by a company called the restaurant called Colorado Mining Company, I think, in Denver. And the funny thing about this sandwich is Elvis first, he heard of it before he had it. He had been to the restaurant before when he was in Denver, but he had never had this sandwich. And he had like the chief of police from Denver over to his house in Memphis in Graceland because he loves cops, of course. So he would host them, and they were sitting there, and they started talking about this sandwich that is a hollowed out loaf of bread filled with 1 jar of jelly, 1 jar of peanut butter, and a pound of bacon.
Just incredible.
So Elvis is at this party at his house.
That's like 4,000 calories.
It's late at night.
Maybe more.
And he's like, fuck this. We're going to get the sandwich. And so they load up on Elvis's private plane. The owner of the restaurant meets them at a private hangar with 22 Fool's Gold loaves. That's 22 jars of peanut butter.
22 hollowed out loaves.
22 pounds of bacon. And they meet them at this private hangar and eat the sandwiches and drink champagne and Perrier and then get back on the plane and fly back.
You think a carbonated beverage wouldn't... I've seen a lot of man versus food, and you don't want like sodas while you're doing the burrito challenge.
You would have to feel like death after I would imagine.
I think there's a reason he died on the toilet.
Yeah.
If you once you see his dietary intake, you're just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Which didn't take him long.
It's intense. But he also, you know, I also agree with his taste and a lot of thought. You got Fool's Gold. I bet that is good, to be fair.
It sounds
good. He also loved a peanut butter and banana sandwich, and those are fire. I think we can all agree.
I've never had one of those.
Delicious. Good
I'm fully on board with the PB&J with bacon. That just sounds like a delightful
that does sound nice.
crunch to it.
That's
a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I think the pound of all of it is the problem. You know?
Yeah.
Everything in moderation.
It's so goddamn big,
including excess.
And all that peanut butter, that's a fucking shit. Think about peanut butter, man.
Just a jar of Jif.
That is a lot. So, Elvis, after this, you know, it was, he kept playing. Priscilla kind of said in her book, he kind of became like leaned into like becoming almost a parody of his former self.
Yeah.
Where it was
more jewels, more
insane,
bedazzled, more suits. It's just
insane excess in every way.
Drugs got better.
It's there's a video of him like before one of his final concerts on YouTube, and he meets this little girl from like, I think it's the Sioux Nation, and she gives him like a little thing from their tribe, and he's taking a picture with her, and he looks like such shit, but he's like still. He still like has the like
being
charm.
Like the politician.
You can still see like the charm.
He's glad handing,
and he's like posing with this little girl, and he goes, "Hey, we get her a scarf, something." Want to get her a scarf. That was Elvis's answer to everything when you come down to
bedazzled scarves. They can't solve everything.
But yeah, it was. So he hits the skids and dies after that.
1977, like a few years after.
He had, after all that wild life, I read that the night before he died, he was up all night reading a book, which I love reading, but Jesus, what a bummer to have the life of Elvis, and then you're like, if I would have known.
They left out why he was up, and it was an incredible amount of amphetamines.
And racquetball.
Yeah. He was really, a lot of yin and yang to Elvis.
There was, yeah,
for
sure.
He died young.
He was skinny. He was fat. He was, he was, handsome. He was sweaty.
He was handsome. He was sweaty.
He contained multitudes.
He was, respectful to the ladies in his crowd, and also a pedophile. You got to have the yin and yang. A little bit. That's never a good qualifier. For calling somebody a pedophile. Just a little bit.
It's so true. Elvis died 1977, and then the nation was so depressed, but then their spirits were raised after the Dallas Cowboys won their second Super Bowl
against the Buffalo Bills.
I don't think this one was
one of them was against the Buffalo Bills.
No, that doesn't come till the 90s.
Does it really not? I thought the 70s were against the Bills. I'm looking this up.
Nah, it was wins were Dolphins, Steelers, Bills, Steelers.
Let's see.
Tell me I'm right.
Here. I'm going to tell you. I might tell you. Let's see. Cowboys, Colts in 71. The Baltimore Colts.
Oh, wow.
You fool.
Okay.
We're both wrong.
Well, there you go. Then the second one was Dolphins.
72 was the Dolphins. And then the Steelers in 76. And then the Broncos in 78. I don't remember any of these.
They were before we were born.
I know. But I feel like there's a general knowledge of, there's only like 8 of them.
Yeah, that is true.
And I guess the Bills were the triplets in the 90s. There you go. The more you know, you learn something new every day.
I did read that when Elvis was going real bad, Frank Sinatra reached out to him to try to give him like a little encouragement. And this was a big thing because Frank Sinatra was no big fan of Elvis. He once said his music, he once described his music as a rancid smelling aphrodisiac. But so he called up
again,
Elvis.
The yin and yang of Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly. He called up Elvis and he said, I told him he's got to look after himself and quit fooling around. He's too young to die, and I told him so. That's what Frank Sinatra said. I was like, thanks, Frank. That was the most Frank Sinatra intervention ever.
I'm gonna.
It was just hey, mind your P's and Q's, you fucking idiot. And then he leaves.
Frank Sinatra walked in and went, "Hey, knock it off," and then walked out.
You're fat and you're sloppy. And that's his intervention.
Fix it. I'm leaving. There's a couple fun facts in the story. This one, we kind of talked about Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee in The Way of the Dragon, and they had their big fight scene at the end. And it was illegally filmed at the Colosseum in Rome.
Nice.
What an unnecessary touch for a movie. It could have been a sound stage. It could have just been an old place.
They're like, no, it has to be real.
The Colosseum in Rome.
Hell yeah.
That's kind of awesome.
I respect the shit out of that.
And then, you ever been to Graceland?
I have not been to Graceland.
I had the joy of going to Graceland a few years ago.
Nice.
My wife and I, we were in Memphis. We were just traveling, dicking around. I think we were there for the total eclipse a few years ago. And
of the heart?
The Dan band came.
Hell yeah.
But we went to Graceland, and I was kind of shocked because we're being tongue in cheek. It was funny.
Yeah.
Like, we're in Memphis. Why not go see Graceland? And you kind of walk in, and the tickets were like $80 an adult.
God damn.
And you're like,
it's more than Six Flags.
Whoa. And you're like, you're there. You don't want to be a tightwad. So we did it. And I was like, $80. Well, how much money are we making here? You know, and there's lines of fat people as far as the eye can see.
Oh, I can only imagine.
The average Elvis fan, he still has diehard fans.
Oh yeah.
And they're all someone's aunt that hasn't masturbated in a very long time.
Yeah.
That's how I would describe them.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of his fans, I found this really funny. I was doing my research about Elvis and Mike Stone. There's a Quora post with the question, could Elvis Presley have defeated his ex-wife's love interest, Mike Stone, in a physical altercation back in the day? And Tammy Green, a nurse at one time,
2 years
her
ago,
job, she answered, yes, Elvis could have kicked Mike Stone's ass, which I love because it sounds so important to her. And it's totally not true.
Yeah.
Mike Stone would have fucking killed Elvis in
That's
hand-to-hand
why
combat.
the internet rules.
But here's the thing.
Thank you, Tammy Green.
Yeah, thank you, Tammy. It might not have ever come to that because Elvis was so goddamn...
gun-toting.
Yeah, he was strapped to the hilt every day. Which there's a lesson in there, you know. If you find yourself crossways with a karate guy, wear 3 guns on you at all times.
All times.
Can't hurt.
But so that was the secret story of Elvis being cuckolded by a karate man and his wife leaving him, and then him dying shortly after.
That's right.
On today's episode of Oddball History.
And Mike Stone is still living.
Mike is still living. That's
he
crazy.
Sold all his possessions in 1985 and moved with his wife to the Philippines.
Yep.
Which sounds cool.
Sounds pretty neat.
Honestly.
Tina, I believe her name is. Mm-hmm. I believe she was in the movie Tiger Shark with him. Because they kept making karate. Even they waned in popularity, but they keep making them.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, Mike Stone.
Mike Stone. We hardly knew ye.
We hardly knew ye.
Actually, I was like looking him up. I didn't listen to it, but he's like still has a karate school and still teaches and like just seems like a perfectly nice man.
Yeah.
Like he did a podcast about karate not too long ago, and they don't constantly ask him about Elvis's wife.
Yeah.
He's just a karate man. He was a karate man before. He's just a karate man afterward.
That's right. A sexy karate man.
Sexy. He's a good-looking old dude. He's in shape.
Yeah. Yeah, sure he is. He can break boards, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
If you have any boards that need breaking around the house,
He's got you
your man.
covered. Maybe a brick or two. It's crazy.
Maybe even a brick or two.
But yeah, what's going on with you, Scott? You got anything coming up?
I have tonight, so it will be in the past when this comes out.
The best promos.
325
the past promos. 4
Dallas
days in the
Hyenas.
past.
I have some shit coming up, I'm sure, but I don't remember it. I was this week.
Hell yeah.
This week I was remembering. I read one time. Did you know the reason a baker's dozen is like 13 is because in England a baker, if you were found to be shorting ingredients in your bread, you could be sent to Australia. Yeah. You could be sent to Australia to live out your rest of your life on a fucking penal colony. It was I always thought that was very harsh. And then this week I got a loaf of sourdough bread from the, I think, Kroger bakery. It had a fucking hole from like one end to the other in the middle of the goddamn loaf.
You can't control the air pocket.
Yeah, and now I'm like, I think bakers
should
who
send
short
them to
you
a labor camp.
No, they should be killed. They should just
bring back public executions. That's another one of our big takeaways here.
It's a real, it's a real motherfucker to have the hole through the whole thing of bread every time you go to make a sandwich. Again, you're just like, son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
They got me. They got me again.
They're going to get me 9 more times.
Well played, grocery store bakery.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm headlining the Brazos Theater down in Waco on the 20th.
Oh, hell yeah. Good show.
And then I'm doing a spot at that new club in Fort Worth, the Big Laugh.
I'm doing that too, actually.
Yeah. No, I need to put you on it, right? Mm-hmm. There we go. So we're doing that together, an Oddball History event.
That's right. February 1st.
Yep. That'll be cool. It moves the date like 3 times.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice. It's February 1st, for sure.
Hell yeah.
And I'm featuring for Chris Porter at Hyenas Fort Worth, February 8th and 9th.
Nice.
So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But what's on at the? We have a couple stupid things at the fire station. We have a weight loss challenge going on right now.
Nice.
Where it's 3 months. It's $100 buy-in. Every third shift you weigh in, and if your weight goes up from the previous weigh-in, you have to put $5 more into the pot.
Oh shit!
Winner take all based off percentage of your body weight, and the loser has to get a tramp stamp henna tattoo of the station's choosing.
Nice.
Because it's not a full-on thing, but it's weeks that it takes for those to fade away.
I like it.
And the guy that lost last time, he got like, where we go one, we go all.
Nice.
Just the entirety of his lower back. So it'll be bad.
Yeah.
And then we had a fantasy football.
I feel like they should have to wait to get the tramp stamp until swimsuit season.
Yeah.
You know?
I think
really break that thing out.
It'll be March. It'll still be cold, but that would be perfect.
Yeah.
But we had a fantasy football league where the last place guy has to enter a bodybuilding competition.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's hilarious. The heartbreaker of it is the guy's kind of jacked.
Ah.
Yeah, and there were 3 fat guys in the league that everyone was pulling for to lose. Just imagine. But it's turning out it's like more expensive to get into them than I thought. I thought they'd have like a local YMCA just doing a bunch of, tryhards wannabe bodybuilders for $50.
But no, it's serious.
No, you got to get your NPC card. That's $125, and then the entry fee is like $130. Like,
oh, you don't have to tell me about the bodybuilding world.
Yeah,
I've had enough to hear with these bodybuilding competition entrance fees. Frankly,
what is my mom had a funny thing because I did jujitsu for years, like 10 years. I did jujitsu all the time, and recently stopped. I took a break because I was hurt a lot, but. Every time my mom would ask me about it, because I wear the gi sometimes, she would say, "Oh, are you still doing your karate?"
Devastating.
And it always felt dismissive, you know?
Yeah,
I was like, no, jiu-jitsu's cool. It's not karate, Mom.
It's a different thing.
Which when you're 34 saying, it's not karate, Mom, you're probably losing the argument.
Karate guys don't say, let's roll. They
No, they
say
don't.
we roll. That's a fucking jiu-jitsu thing,
Hell
Mom.
yeah.
Come on.
But
Yeah, that jiu-jitsu.
somebody's got to grapple.
Yeah, got to grapple.
Do you have what are your closing thoughts, Scott?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun researching this topic. Elvis was a ridiculous man.
He was
wild. Just a crazy. I mean, from the time he was so young, he was such a big star. So he was just doing what he wanted all the time, forever. That's why you get stories like him flying to Denver to eat
to get a sandwich,
peanut butter and bacon sandwiches.
And he is of a time.
Yeah,
where like that's what people were into.
Oh,
and he was like the biggest star in the world. Like obviously a talented singer. He did a little hip thing. Stole it all from black people probably. Who didn't?
Yeah, no. Actually, a thing I learned in my research was that his whole style of dancing was stolen from a little simpleton with braces on his legs in Greenbow, Alabama. I didn't realize that before. But it's true. To keep that quiet, he hired a bunch of local bullies to try to run the kid down in their truck, but it didn't work because he could run
miraculously
like the wind.
Healed from polio.
Ran from his assassination attempt directly into a football scholarship from the University of Alabama.
Incredible program even back then. Then fought in the Vietnam War gloriously.
That's right.
Purple Star.
Really set his whole life
Endurance
in motion
runner.
trying to have him killed by those teens in their pickup truck.
A famously handicapped man.
Famously?
Or violent handicapped man.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite jokes of yours, is your Forrest Gump joke.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
So you can see him do it on February 1st.
That's right. Come see it.
That's the oddball promise.
That's the oddball promise.
Did you say the thing you wanted to close with?
No, yeah. We got no, yeah. I don't think I have anything else. A lot of football coming up.
Oh yeah. What did you think of the national championship game?
It was all right. It was like a big old.
I liked Michigan winning.
Yeah,
they were like the dominant team. They whooped ass.
Yeah,
I was bummed UT lost to Washington.
Yeah, me too.
But they didn't look great. like that, how close that game was going to the final drive.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no possible way they should be in this game because they've just been outplayed. But
yeah, I thought, I do think Michigan, they looked like the better team.
Yeah. And then this weekend we got the wild cards. The Dallas Cowboys take on the Green Bay Packers.
Hell yeah.
Which
it should be a dub, in my opinion. But
we are a city known
knows?
for catastrophic losses in the first round of the playoffs. That's not true, but I don't know. I don't believe in them.
Yeah.
I'm a negative Cowboys fan. The Cowboys fans, there's only two varieties. There's It's Our Year, Week 1 dudes. And it's...
Or I'll never believe they will win the Super Bowl until they're holding the fucking trophy.
Yes, until
that's where I'm at.
15 seconds left in the fourth quarter, I assume they will lose the big game.
Yeah, I feel like you've come to, feel that way after so many years. And in creative ways.
Yeah.
We're a hurt fan base. We're a hurt fan base.
We're negative people. We think negative things.
That's right.
Dane Cook and
go
Elvis.
Go Cowboys. Hey, you know what? Also, I'm feeling good. They put Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor.
That was
they
cool.
righted that wrong.
That was cool.
So maybe there's the curse is off or
a little
lessened.
windy on the speech, but ended it with the "How about them Cowboys?" That was awesome.
Yeah, that picture of Emmett and Michael Irvin howling at Jimmy Johnson. I fucking loved that shit, dude.
He's still got good coach voice
for that.
Yeah.
I'm such a sucker for old team history stuff.
Yeah. Just middle-aged men crying.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Great. God bless them.
We love you, Jimmy Johnson.
We love you, Jimmy Johnson. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.
Until you break our hearts.
That's right. Don't fucking do it.
Don't you do it. All right. See you guys.
Take care.